I think one of the magic things is that the three, me, you, and Wade came together, and on our own, there wasn't a lot of power, but the group together, it was so dynamic and fun and something people hadn't seen, and we were having a great time, and we were pushing the limits, and I think that's what really kind of the energy behind the three of us is what made it happen.
The lifestyle as well as the riding too.
Yeah, exactly.
And we had like baggy clothes on. It was like even before Sean Palmer was using moto clothes, people were wearing spandex predominantly, and we were in baggy roach shorts, which roach had just started, and we were using, loose fitting jerseys and roach shorts, and I started using knee pads.
Yeah, you could be. I mean, I hate to give you any credit.
Thanks.
But you could be the first guy that wore protection. And we used to laugh at you. You wear your football hip pads, and we're like, oh, Tippie. But I think you really
Skateboarding knee pads.
You had some foresight there that was actually pretty important and made a big difference.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, everyone wears knee pads typically when they're free riding and whatnot. So
they should still wear more pads, but somehow Bear Claw and those guys made that uncool.
Have the pipes out.
Remember when we used to be padded from head to toe? We needed to be because we were kind of flailing.
Well, the bikes would break a lot back then too.
That's true too.
Broke a lot of bikes. How many bikes did we break? How many how many bottom brackets did we snap? How many bars did we break?
Remember Marshall Kent used to go like, I got a prototype for you to ride. It's going to break, but it won't break in a bad place. And you're like, dude, that's not very confidence inspiring. But at the same time, Rocky was like so forward thinking and working with us, and
Mike Carroll,
yeah,
was and Tess Sewell.
Shout out to that guy. He really had a vision that we couldn't have pushed to the corporate guys, and he did.
Yeah, and we got some money. All of a sudden, we're making money.
Yeah,
and we started getting plane tickets to go around, and we went down to Moab at first, and then we went and visited Dirk in Europe, and he got us wasted, and we had to ride all hungover. And
so let's talk about that for a second. When you and I were first negotiating our Rocky Mountain deals, I was living in my buddy Ken's house on Beaver Lane in Whistler, and I remember there was a payphone in the mudroom of the thing because it used to be the band house for Buffalo Bills, and I remember you negotiating your deal on the payphone in my house.
Yes. So cool. But we were the first sponsored professional freeride team. So, and Wade was a former downhiller that raced pro Canada Cup downhill and whatnot.
Who hats off to Wade, because he probably could have been the Canadian champion several times, but he decided to get super stylish off whatever the last jump was and lose a couple seconds, and Chris Lawrence would beat him.
Oh, so all of a sudden we're traveling around the world. We're getting flown, here and there, and as many bikes as we could break and parts and whatnot. It was awesome. And, we were like a couple of young Kamloops guys from a small BC blue collar town. And the three of us were just a bunch of yahoos. There was a couple girls at the beginning, Karis Evans and Damien Skeleton, who were, Damien was a pro downhiller for a while there. And
wasn't she Canadian champion?
I think she was Canadian champion, maybe a couple of times.
Aussie? How does an Aussie become Canadian champion?
I don't know. Well, she was fastest in the race. I don't know. And Karis was riding some gnarly stuff.
Oh, yeah.
In North Vancouver.
Awesome. Elodie Brown
was, she rode for K2, but she was one of the girls riding awesomely at the time. So we did Cranked, and it was a hit. And all of a sudden, things were rolling. And then Crank 2 came around, and you and I went up to Lillooet and Farwell Canyon, and we were the first to ride those chutes. And they're still.
Were we the first?
Yeah, I was the first one to go off the top.
I didn't know if somebody had ridden it before, and we got shown the location. Or
no, Bjorn showed us the location, but I was the first person to go off the top, and did Martini Mattis. I call it because it was shaped like a martini glass, and I did the line to the right, and then went back and did it with like the huge Bolex film camera, and then we rode a bunch of those chutes and whatnot, with and without the camera, and that was Crank 2 Trails for the Crypt, and I'm stoked that location is still used today for people's shredits, and I see on Instagram all the time, and that was gnarly back in that with cantilever brakes and 4 inches of travel.
Yeah, it's actually there's a bunch of young rippers in Whistler that are you know going around hitting all the old lines and stuff, and it's kind of a makes me feel pretty proud that like these lines we rode back in the day on very less adequate bikes, guys are still, they're putting a little pepper on it, but those are still considered pretty gnarly things. And damn, we were doing it with shit tires, no soft rubber, and 6 inches of travel.
I
And
had 4 inches.
now people are going like, yeah, I rode it on my enduro bike. It's like, dude, we only had enduro bikes back then, and we had tires that were like hard plastic. So it's pretty cool because you think if these lines we rode back then stand the test of time, that's a measuring stick today. That's kind of rad. Like all the young rippers are kind of finding these lines and doing it, and it makes you feel like, okay, I guess it was pretty legit at the time,
Well, it was something new back then. It was crazy, and it is rewarding to see people still riding them, and yeah, makes I almost feel like breaking my arm right now. Pat myself on the back.
My shoulder's a little loose from doing it.